My guest today knows Queens inside out. If there's an event, he's already been there. This is Rob MacKay from QEDC and Queens Tourism Council, and a man who wears many, many hats. Rob, hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. But seriously, every time I go to an event, you are already there. So I want to know first how you have that energy, but we'll talk about that later. When people ask you, what do you do? What do you tell them?
Well, I tell them I work for the Queens Economic Development Corporation, and basically I promote the borough.
And
I'm
so,
the enthusiast. I'm a Queens enthusiast.
and what exactly QEDC does? Can you explain to people?
Sure. So to give you the long view, 1977. I'm sure before you were born, there was New York City was really bad in the 1970s. Crime rate, bankruptcy, all kinds of stuff. And there was a blackout. And back then, when there was no electricity, there was no alarms, and so there was looting all throughout the city. People just broke into stores and took whatever they could. And right after that, in my mind, and I think in other people's mind, that was kind of when we hit rock bottom, right? And right after that, a bunch of, I guess you would call them stakeholders, politicians, civic group people, business people in Queens decided to form the Queens Economic Development Corporation. It was actually the Queens Overall Economic Development Corporation back then, but we lost that one word. And, the basic idea is to attract, create, and retain jobs in Queens. So we start out where we start out. We employees come, funding streams come and go, and right now we have a whole bunch of programs that are sort of based on helping. If you wanted to start a business, you'd come to us. If you wanted a consultation on anything from getting loans to marketing to laws, you'd come to us. We run a business incubator, a big kitchen where people in the food business can rent out for 8-hour turns and make their food at a very good price. We have all kinds of other programs, courses. We help people get licenses in different areas. And so on and so forth. And I am lucky because I get to run the Queens Tourism Council.
And explain how that relates to the QEDC.
Well, it relates to the QDC, number one, because when I came on board 15 years ago, my boss at the time, whose name is Seth Borstein, said, I want you to start the Queens Tourism Council. So, of course, I started, and it took a while to get going. But now it's part of our mission because, tourism, no matter where you go, whether it's London or Paris or a beach in the West Indies, tourism is a major economic generator. And here in Queens, tourism is huge. So the whole idea is just to make tourism grow, which of course helps jobs in the end run. So that's where we fit in.
Do you know which attraction attracts the most people?
Well, it depends on how you want to count it. When the Mets are good, they bring in 3 million people a year. The USTA, which is over 14, actually 21 days, really. I mean, they bring in a lot of people, but different museums. There's some museums that bring in 500,000 a year, and all the way down to ones that don't even bring in 1,000,000 or 1,000. Sorry. So it's all over the place.
And you also run a newsletter called It's in Queens.
Uh-huh.
Explain how that connects to the Queens Tourism Council.
Sure. So in one of the early meetings of the Queens Tourism Council, we got around and we said we need a slogan, right? And we bounced around here and there, and we ended up with It's in Queens. So basically, we do everything on the It's in Queens brand. I should have worn my It's in Queens t-shirt today, but I didn't. So, you can find us. We have a website, itsinqueens.com. And then if you excuse the repetition, twitter.com it's in Queens, twitter.com / it's in Queens, facebook.com / it's in Queens, Instagram / it's in Queens. We now have Blue Sky. So we do everything through It's in Queens, and we have merchandise that says It's in Queens. And I love it, but I'm not sure if we're going to keep it forever. But I enjoy the Queens, the slogan. And sometimes when I walk around, people will walk up to me and say, "Hey, it's in Queens." So,
Of course, you are on Instagram, and I love your
yeah,
videos. And
thank
your
you.
opening line is, "I'm your favorite
Mini
influ-"
influencer. Yeah,
Mini
that's what we are,
influencer.
mini
I love
influencers.
it. Why do you say that it might not be that you might stop doing It's in Queens?
Well, in general, slogans don't last forever. We have a new executive director now. He might want to change it. We'll see. Times change, things change. Back when we first started this, like "all in" was like the catchphrase. People would say "all in," and I don't say that anymore. So we'll see. We'll see. The borough has changed a little bit.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
The change, change is part of life. Queens change is just every day is different around here.
And take us a little bit back before you did what you do right now. What was your career journey? Was it very different than what it's now?
So I started out as an English teacher, and then I actually joined the Peace Corps and went to Honduras. And I came back and I taught a little bit, and then I decided to get into the journalism world. I was working, I was an editor and reporter for a weekly newspaper and a bunch of other things. And at the time, the Seth Bornstein, who ran the QEDC, the job opened, and he contacted me. I'd actually written about him before. And he said, "Listen, I can tell that you know how to write. I can tell by the way you write that you love Queens. You don't know anything about marketing, but I'll take the risk." And so here we are, 15 years later.
And you mentioned that it's a little off topic, but AI scares you a little bit, and
Oh,
where
yeah.
things are going. And internet changed before a lot of our lives, and now AI. How do you see that fit into your world right now?
Well, nobody really knows how it's going to affect the economy, but it's probably going to take away jobs. And that's obviously, I mean, I'm in the business of trying to create and retain jobs, so we'll see what happens. And then there are other things about AI that, I don't know if we can trust any of it. I don't like the fact, I personally don't use it. I just was, this morning I was reading something that was obviously written by AI because it was wrong. It was talking about Prince Andrew. Obviously AI had digested an article, and it said the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew. Now Prince, the singer, became the artist formerly known as Prince. So something had happened. AI didn't understand it, and the whole idea that we're going to be relying on that scares me a little bit.
Okay. Well, moving on to food.
Yes.
I know you love food. You're such a foodie. I can
Yes.
tell from your Instagram. And what is coming up right now for QEDC and the Queens Tourism Council? What events are worth checking out in 2026?
Sure. So we do a big event every year. It's in May. It's called Queen's Taste, and we will get about 50 restaurants to give out samples. We'll see how many people show up. About 500 we expect, and it's going to be in Long Island City. The Sound, the Sound River Studios.
No.
Oh, okay. It's
new?
right on the water. It's not that. It's a little bit new. It's going to be right on the water. It's indoor, outdoor. You'll be right on the East River, looking at Midtown Manhattan. It's going to be good. We did it for years and years at the New York Hall of Science, but we have a new executive director wants to try something new. It's going to be a lot of fun. Pray for good weather that day.
I will, because I covered the one in the Hall of Science
Ah,
a few
okay.
years ago, and it was wonderful.
Thank
We
you.
met so many
Good.
great people.
Well, if I can invite you back right here officially,
Yes, thank you.
please
Of
come.
course, I will. And how do you see the restaurant scene changed in Queens from throughout the years?
So, the restaurant scene, everything is unique, and Queens is unique. Restaurants in Manhattan, they're often like they have a theme, they have investors, they have some famous chef, they do this and that. Queens is a little bit, and I might say, you pay a lot of money for tiny portions. Queens is a little bit different. We're the world's most diverse county. Our food tends to be ethnic, but kind of an authentic ethnic. Like we have a Greek person who grew up on an island in Greece, and he's got his restaurant here. And same thing with somebody who's got a Korean restaurant here and over there. And then we've got Guyanese food and blah blah blah. And you're gonna get a grandmother's recipe or something like that. And the food scene is also a little bit different from the other in that foodies like to travel more than a lot of other people. I guess it's kind of part of the fun to say I got on a subway and I went to some place in Queens and I ordered with hand signals because they didn't understand, but it was the best dumplings I ever had, or stuff like that. So some people aren't going to come out to Queens, but foodies definitely do and will. And actually, I think it's part of the fun.
And which is your favorite neighborhood to go and eat?
Oh,
And your favorite
I
restaurant?
mean, the thing is that
And your favorite dish?
no, I'll tell you that the food scene is so good in so many places. I mean, Astoria, Flushing, Guyanese food out on Liberty in Richmond Hill. It really kind of depends on the mood. I mean, we have everything here. We really do have everything. So it really depends on what you're in the mood for. But I would say nothing compares to the Queens food scene.
And you go all over Queens and you experience all this culture and different events. How do you have the energy? What drives you? What inspires you?
Well, first of all, I'm lucky in that I have a job that I really like. My whole life, I've been interested in kind of what I do now. So it's a lifestyle that I've chosen. And so
What is one event that you are looking forward to
besides Queen's Taste,
besides Queen's Taste? Something that is not related to food.
well, every year we do the Hong Kong Dragon Boat out in Meadow Lake in Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. I love that. I happen to know the main organizer, and I'm involved a little bit. That's always a lot of fun. But there are things that kind of Queens is unique. We have the all-inclusive St. Patrick's Day parade. We have people don't realize this, but we have top-notch surfing competitions. At least top-notch for the Eastern
We
Seaboard.
do?
Yeah, in Rockaway. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. We'll have a great Lunar New Year party. We'll have a couple of Lunar New Year parties in Queens. So it's kind of like just everything.
And if somebody wants to benefit from QEDC and the Queens Tourism Council, how can they find you? What is the first step they need to do? Do they need to qualify for some of the things that you do? Or
Well, we do everything legally. But if you wanted to start a job, you would come to us. If you wanted to know about what registrations for this, we have. If you were a handyman who's really good with your hands and wants to start your own company, we have a course that prepares people to take the exam to get licensed. We found that there's a lot of handymen in Queens don't really know the language, don't really know how the whole thing works here, and some of them were getting underpaid for jobs that they were doing, or getting jobs were being canceled halfway through. So we decided to start this program. We have a program that we run with the borough president, where basically you take a few classes, a few seminars, and you come up with a business plan. You submit the business plan to judges that we hire, and they pick the 5 ones that they like the most, and each one gets $10,000 for their startup business. So, that kind of stuff. Again, we run a kitchen space called the entrepreneur space. If you imagine a huge kitchen, with a oven that can cook 200 cookies at a time or whatever, and storage space, walk-in freezer, and all that kind of. There's enough space for 4 teams to work at the same time. If we found out a while ago that New York being New York, there's a market for almost every kind of food. But the barrier to entry is that it's just so expensive. You're not allowed to make food in a residential kitchen. You can't make it at home and sell it. That's illegal. So you rent it with us. We also have people that'll help you, get you into markets, do training and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to start a food business, come to us. Or if you have a food business and one night you get hit hard and need extra, come to us for a turn. We have everything. We have people that make jams. We have people that make gluten-free products. We used to have a guy who made designer marshmallows. Yes.
And that Essential Kitchen, I believe, it's in Long Island
It's in
City.
Long Island City.
Right?
It's just off Northern Boulevard, not far from where the Museum of the Moving Image is.
When we covered Queen's Taste a few years ago, and I met a lady that was working there, yes, and I didn't even know that you need to prepare everything in a commercial kitchen in order for you to sell in the public. So that is wonderful resource for small businesses.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's food is a viable business.
Yes, we all like to eat.
It's so tough. It's just so tough. Like getting enough money to rent a pizzeria or a bakery. I mean, it's just tough to get started in New York City.
And final question I ask every guest: if someone wants to experience Queens in the way you do, where would you send them first?
See, again, that kind of depends because in the summer I'm in Rockaway a lot. I kind of feel I've noticed that there's actually a pretty big difference between European travelers and American travelers, in that American travelers like their cars. Europeans, they come here and they wouldn't come to New York without riding the subway. So it's kind of like part of the fun, part of the thing. So I would suggest taking the subway, the 7 train or the F train, and then it kind of depends on your a person's tastes. I mean, I've taken people that love jazz to the Louis Armstrong Museum. I've also taken them to Adderley Park, which is a neighborhood in Queens where a lot of the jazz greats lived. I took my nephew to Rockaway to body surf last summer. We've got Noguchi, the sculpture. I had 2 friends come in that I knew. One of them actually is a sculptor, so we went right there. And the wonderful thing about all of that is that you can easily tag it onto a restaurant. There's always a good restaurant in the area. I have a friend who moved to New Mexico, and he's very into hydroponics.
Yes.
And all of that kind of stuff. And when he came back to New York for one summer, he said, I want to see Queens Botanical Gardens composting facility.
That's random.
Well, it's because it's the business.
Yes.
He was into it, and so here he was in New York. And I called up the woman who runs at the time who runs the Queens Botanical Garden, and we took a tour of. They won awards for environmental awards over there. So really, it depends on what you like. But I feel like I always the more I think about it, Queens has everything maybe except for skiing.
Yes, we have ice skating.
We have
don't
ice
have
skating.
skiing, but we have ice
I don't
skating.
think we have, but we have just about everything else.
Yes.
I mean, we have opera. I mean, name something that, and we have it.
Where would you go and experience opera?
Well, we have a Queens Opera Theater that puts on performances a couple of times. You have the Secret Theater, which is in Long Island City. They do operas every now and then. I believe that the Queens Opera will be works with Flushing Town Hall. So we've got that option. Name something else. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, mushrooms. I know people that there's a group that searches for mushrooms after rainfalls in Queens cemeteries. You know, we got it all.
And I've heard two brothers, they grow mushrooms out of their basement, I believe. It's somewhere in Ridgewood.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do know those people. Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's like, you know, you can talk about Chinese food. Well, in Queens, it's by region. Like, do you want Szechuan? You like, what kind of Chinese food do you want? I mean, we get that deep into it. You know, there are 4 different Thai cuisines, and we have all 4 of them. You know, so.
You mentioned the Secret Theater, and I said it's the last question, but you mentioned the Secret Theater. I'm going to a performance there, and they're now located in Long Island City. They were before in Long Island City.
Yes.
Then they had to move to Woodside,
Yep.
and then now back, which is wonderful because they survived the pandemic, and Richard Mazda
Yeah.
is the founder.
COVID was a problem for them,
Yes,
as it was for everyone.
as it was for everyone. Do they any way benefited from QEDC, or do founders like that benefit
Sure.
from QEDC?
Well, to be honest, we have a weekly events e-blast that about a little more than 5,000 people open each week, and it has 6 events and then other stuff. And actually, one of his upcoming events is in that. So yeah, the answer is yes. We promote them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky. We have, so our Instagram, last time I checked, we were about 23,000 followers. Facebook, we have 15 something. Instagram, we have 8,000 something. And Blue Sky, forget it. It's barely 3 digits, but it's starting. So we get the word out. You know, we get the word out about events and stuff.
What is a
going on.
Blue Sky?
So when remember, if you remember when Twitter kicked Donald Trump off
Okay, yes.
Twitter, and then Elon Musk bought it and put him back on.
Yes.
A bunch of, I guess, Democrats or whatever decided to form Blue Sky as their own Twitter, but it's, you know, it's just starting and all that. So
Yes.
it's another form of Twitter. I guess it's a Democrat leaning Twitter, I guess.
Well, you're constantly on Instagram.
Yeah,
It's in Queens.
We do a couple of tweets
So-
a day. Yeah. Average.
Yes. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
If we missed anything, if you want to share something,
I wanted to
now is
ask
the
you
time.
because I know that you're Bulgarian, but I
I'm
don't know of
Bulgarian.
any Bulgarian restaurant in Queens, and that's
Yes.
Is there? Where?
there was one
Yeah.
in Crescent Street in what it's now. Is it Long Island City? Nah,
Crescent,
not really.
Long Island City,
Still
Astoria. Yeah.
But they closed many years ago. There was another one in Manhattan, also changed.
Manhattan? I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's called Mehanata.
Uh-huh.
Friends of mine own it, and
Okay.
it was a bar/restaurant.
Uh-huh.
But then they changed just the whole idea around it changed after the pandemic. But the one in Astoria closed, and we don't have a Bulgarian restaurant.
All right. Well,
We
we're going to have to work
stores.
on that. We're going to have to work on that.
I know.
We have
I wanted to open one.
do you know Keuka Cafe on Queens Boulevard in Forest Hills? That's Ukrainian.
Okay.
So it's
I didn't know that.
similar, not that far away.
Yeah.
There was a Moldavan restaurant in Sunnyside, but it closed too.
So our cuisine
They had
is
a
similar.
rabbit in a white sauce.
We don't have that. Their cuisine is a little bit different,
Uh-huh.
although we're a neighboring country.
Uh-huh.
Ours is closer to Middle Eastern, Turkish, a lot
okay.
of meat,
Uh-huh.
and
Alright.
Bulgaria is very small, but each region has its
Yeah.
own cuisine.
They're
in a way.
they're known for really good feta cheese.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that because
Yeah.
people say it's Greek feta.
No, I
it's
know.
Bulgarian.
I know. So that's something we got to do. So we have no skiing, and as for right now, we have no Bulgarian restaurant. But maybe in the future,
Maybe I'll open one. I wanted
Okay.
to open one, very curated with
why don't
curated
you
menu.
start a company online company where you make Bulgarian food in our kitchen, the entrepreneur space, and sell it online? Can you do that?
Okay.
Or
Well,
maybe
how many
rent
hours
it out?
are in a day? Because
Maybe rent it out every now and then to make food for street fairs or something like that.
I love it.
We could help you start a business.
Okay. You're keeping me now accountable in front of everyone.
We could go through the whole process on QPTV.
I love that. Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
But thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And like I said, it's in Queens.
Yes.
Great dining, it's in Queens. Great
Everything
recreation,
except ski.
it's in Queens. Great
Th-
theater, it's in Queens. Okay.
Thank you. Well, that's it for today's show. I'll see you next time on Around Queens.